Today, I'd like to invite you on a journey as I build the Kronos. To understand the story of this guitar, we need to go back to the very beginning. Me at the computer altering a drawing my good friend Gio sent me. After weeks of internal debate and countless emails back and forth with my client, I finally ended up with the design I felt he'd be happy with and would also give me the opportunity to create something worthy of the time and effort it takes to build a guitar by hand. This instrument starts off where all guitars begin, with the wood selection. Choosing woods for a new guitar build is one of my favorite things to do. I'm often inspired by the wood to create a new design around it. I've used 11 pieces of wood to construct the neck on the Kronos. 2 outer pieces of Goncalo Alves are tiger wood. This particular board has a really unique lace-type figure pattern, not normally associated with this species. It's also void of the red streaking that you would normally see in this type of wood. A center strip of African Padauk, flanked on both sides by white Wenge and dark chocolate roasted bird's eye maple. I inserted veneer for some color separation and to further enhance the multi-laminated look of this neck. To me, the feel of the neck is one of the most important things to the player. It's so important to get this right if you ever want to meet the definition of a dream guitar. The looks are important as well and can have a massive impact on the player's ability to connect with the instrument. That connection is at the heart of every decision I make as a luthier. I've tried over the past 6 years to develop my own personal design language. What it comes down to for me is trying to create a balance between 3 things: aesthetics, feel, and tone. And I'm a firm believer at this point that if you can create a balance between those 3 things, with no one of those taking precedence over the other, you've got the makings for a really great guitar in the end. I used the string pluckery radius jig to cut a 12-inch radius on this fretboard. I'll pop a link in the description below in case you're interested in checking one of these out for yourself. While not really necessary for a multi-laminated neck, the client requested that I use carbon fiber stiffening rods in the Kronos. These are epoxied into 2 slots that I cut in when I was routing for the truss rod. What this does is assures that over time you don't develop a warp or a twist in your neck. This can also help stabilize the truss rod adjustments, allowing you to go longer in between setups. This beautiful piece of Madagascar rosewood was sent to me by the client way before this build ever started. But I feel the coloration of this fretboard will marry perfectly to the other woods I've chosen for this guitar. I decided to try something new on this fretboard binding. I cut 2 strips off of the fretboard before doing any work to it. I ran those strips through my drum sander, inserted a piece of maple veneer when I was installing the binding to create a framed look. I'm not really a fan of super fancy fretboard inlays. I've been using copper and brass tube for years. Over the past couple of years, one of my favorite ways to use these tubes is to fill them with Kyocera crushed opal. You can create a really subtle look on your fretboard, or you can create an intense pop of color. For the side dots on the Kronos, I decided to go with the same copper tubing and crushed opal that I used on the face markers. Choosing the fret wire for a new build can be a really confusing thing. In the end, we chose to go with a Bell bronze fret wire from a company called Syntoms in Belarus. This Bell bronze was perfectly suited for this build because it matches really well with the copper fret markers, as well as the color treatment I had planned for the top on this guitar. Over the past 6 years, I've developed a truly unique neck shape. A modern C round in the hand feel down low where most of the chord work is done. As the neck moves its way up towards the body, I flatten this out into what I refer to as a flat D shape. This creates a much faster feeling neck up high where shredders like to play. This, in conjunction with the 12-inch radius that I cut on the fretboard, creates a best of both worlds scenario. For the body on this guitar, I've used a center strip of Australian red Ironbark. I bordered that with 2 pieces of white curly maple and 2 more strips of roasted bird's eye maple. The 2 outer main pieces are American curly cherry. Using a multi-laminate body like this, in conjunction with the neck, creates an almost neck-through look on the back of the guitar. You'll see this a bit later when I carve in the hill transition. I wanted to use a truly spectacular top for this guitar. I ended up choosing this piece of curly mountain ash. The figure on this top is so incredibly insane. To know something like this exists in nature is mind-blowing. This is going to explode when I wipe the color on. I inserted a sheet of black veneer between the body and the top. This is going to create a pinstripe when I carve in the bevel on this guitar. It's also going to provide a border for where the color stops and the natural wood gets revealed on that bevel. I wanted to make a body template for the Kronos, just in case I decide in the future I want to reproduce this guitar for another customer. I can't stress enough how important it is to have a nice firm neck pocket fit. This assures adequate tonal and resonance transfer throughout the whole instrument. It also provides tuning stability. There's tons of routing to be done both on the front and the rear of a body for a guitar build. I used a larger rear cavity on this build to accommodate the controls for the Sustainiac system that the customer requested I use in this guitar. When it came time to route in for the pickups on the front of this guitar, I had some considerations I needed to take into account. I knew the tone my client was after, and pickup placement can make or break the tone of a guitar build. The placement of the pickups can have as much to do with the tone as the pickups themselves, so I can't stress enough how important this decision is. I've used a nice piece of curly maple to make this rear cavity cover. I will dye this to match the front of the guitar in the end. The client and I discussed many things leading up to this build. We both agreed early on that the overall theme of this guitar could be summed up in one word: fire. I wanted the colors I used on this top to convey that very message. I could not be happier with how this color turned out, and I feel this fits both the name and the overall theme perfectly. You'll see me use these odd-shaped silicone blocks throughout all my videos from now on. I actually designed these with my friend Gio, and we offer these for sale. I'll leave a link in the description below. I used 6 coats of Osmopolix oil on this guitar over 3 consecutive days. This produced grain highlight that you just can't get with the spray finish. I really love the deep and amber tones that are created when you use an oil finish. This turned out exceptionally beautiful. And then it was time for the neck to body transition carve. You can see that maple piece that I used to break up that linear line between the neck and the body. I am so happy with how this turned out, and it's taken me several years to perfect my method for doing this hill transition carve like I do. I could never overstate the importance of fret work. It has taken me years to get as good as I am when it comes to level, crowning, and polishing frets. I still learn something new every time I sit down to perform this task. I finish up the body by applying 3 coats of microcrystalline wax, which is a tip I picked up from my buddy Gio at Tornella Guitars here on YouTube. This really brings out the color in this top and the glow of the wood on this guitar overall. While we wrap this build up, let's go through the specs. I've used Hipshot open gear locking tuners, a Hipshot solid brass bridge, Schaller all brass control knobs, a DiMarzio super distortion bridge pickup with a black metal cover, a Sustainiac dual coil sustainer system in the neck. I use Centralab 500K potentiometers, a Mallory Mustard 22 microfarad capacitor, a Pure Tone multi-contact stereo output jack, which provides integrated battery cutoff for the Sustainiac system so it does not drain the battery. I use Schaller strap locks or S-locks for the strap buttons on this guitar, and that pretty much covers it for the specs of this thing. It is a 25.5-inch scale guitar. anyone interested in contacting me about commissioning a guitar build, please feel free to reach out. My email address is sweettguitars@outlook.com. Don't forget to visit my partner YouTube channels as well, Tornella Guitars and Bench Critters. I love this guitar so much, it's going to be so hard for me to let this thing go, but I must. We'll start off in the bridge position. I'm on a clean channel. I'm playing through a little Vault 30-watt solid state amp, no effects applied. I'm rusty, you guys. You're gonna have to forgive my playing. Let's go to the middle. Let's go to the neck, which is my favorite position on this guitar. It's got a warm, chunky tone. Let's go into a tube screamer channel, and we'll go back to the bridge and play that same riff with a little dirt on it. I like it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Eric, I hope you love this guitar as much as I do. I'll see you guys in the next one. And as always, peace and love.